Now, make a hole right here, please. That means give me a chair and get out of the way. Okay, here we go. Oh, shit. Oh, by the way, something I don't turn on normally is the Hewlett-Packard Xenon underneath here. Again, you got to crawl in underneath there. And, yeah, if you're not using it, why bother? Okay, now, just so you can see, put some lights on over here. Camera control units do just what it says. They control the cameras from here so we can match the shots. Now, if you take a look, camera 1 on preview over there is a lot darker than camera 2. Let me get rid of the keys. Hang on. It's hard to see with the keys on. Look at the difference between those two. Lighting. That's what you don't know. It's not the lighting. Lighting's the same. I'm not touching the lighting. It's not the lighting. It's the cameras. So the cameras, just like your still cameras, have an iris. And so you want to have all three matched so the exposure is the same. So when you cut from 1 to 2 to 3, you don't see any difference in lighting. Otherwise, it could look really dreadful. I'll give you an example of how bad that can look. Okay, here, watch. See how jarring that is? Okay, so that's definitely not something you want to put your audience through. So we're going to set up the cameras one at a time. But you can't just use your eyes. If you use your eyes, how do I know? Maybe somebody went in there and screwed around with some settings. I don't know. So you can't use your eyes. You do what the pilots are trained to do. You trust your instruments. That is your instrument. So on there is a screen. And on the screen is, you see that green line going through. That just means it's receiving a signal. But from where? Well, the shading person or the engineer that's sitting here is going to shade those cameras, that's what it's called, for the light and the dark. And how do we know which one? Let's start with camera 1. Okay, that is the signal from camera 1. And camera 1, red screen around it, I happen to know the camera 1 is the one that's on the air. It's got the red screen around it. Now, you're going to have to scoot down a little bit further or back up. First thing we need to do is make sure the scope is calibrated, just like this board is calibrated for 100% over here on the output side. By the way, you're looking for death over there. You got your master up to 100%? Yeah? What if you need to go louder? How are you going to do that? No, you can't. This is 100%, this is 100%. So you had a problem. You want to set it always at about 3/4, so you got some headroom. Okay, let's go over here. This is your waveform monitor. First, we got to make sure the scope is set right. This can get screwed up because you could put this anywhere on the screen. How do you know where it's supposed to go? This line, which is your reference line, goes right on the little dotted line right there. Now, it's hard to see. It's got hash marks across it right here. You know little hash marks? Right here. There. See all those hash marks? That is your reference line. So horizontally, we want to set it right on the line. And of course, you know, you can mess it up horizontally too, but don't worry about that right now. Most of the time, if this is out of calibration, it'll be like that or too high. So set this down right on that dotted line. Bada. Boom. So now we know that it's calibrated. All right, what you see is a waveform. Remember I did the sine waves for you for audio?
Yeah.
That is the electronic picture of that camera. That's the electrons. The spikes are the brightest parts of the picture. The valleys here are the darkest parts of the picture. So what I want on a human face is 80%. 80% is marked right here. And there's even a little dotted line right there to remind you. I want that to be 80% of the video signal. For the brightest whites. For the darkest blacks, curtain behind her, I want that at 7.5. and you get another little line right here that says 7.5. Let's do the whites first. This is the iris. Remember, everything is marked here. Here's the iris. So if I open the iris, the picture gets bright. Look. If I close the iris, the picture goes away. It's a camera. Iris is an iris. So let's bring it up, and then notice as I'm pulling this up, the picture's starting to appear. I want the brightest brights of a face at 80%. Bring it up, 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 right to the 80% line, and that's a perfect picture. Now, why not 100%? No, because with the exception of an albino, no human beings are pure white. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. All human beings have some melanin in their skin. Some have a lot, some have a little. Albinos have none. So short of an albino who would be pure white, most people, and that's very rare, most people, Johnny Winters, for example, most people are going to be at 80%, not 100%. Regardless of their skin tone. If you have a black person out there who has very dark skin, you still want them at 80%. If you have a white person who has extremely white skin, you still want them at 80% because they're not reflecting 100%. Okay, so that's a perfect exposure for that model's face. For the whites, what about the dark parts of the picture? All right, this is two components here. We have the light and we have the dark, and they're separate. The dark part, just to confuse you further, is called a pedestal, which, by the way, is the same name as the camera stands out in the studio. Pedestal means that's what the signal rests on. Now, I'll tell you right here what the numbers are. I'm going to start moving it. Master pedestal plus 56. See that? That's plus 100. Now, look at the picture. It's all washed out and gray. Punch up one on preview also so you can see on both monitors. Go ahead, you won't hurt it. There you go. Notice it's all washed out. That means we have raised the black part of the picture so high up that there are no blacks, there are only grays. Look at the scope. This is the black part right here. Okay? Black part's right here. Watch what happens as I drop it. See it moving on the scope? Yeah. Now I want that down to the 7.5% line, which is right there. Now if you look at the picture, the black curtain is black. Her face is properly exposed, and she looks pretty damn good. Problem is, she doesn't look the same as camera 2. Push up camera 2 on the preview, please. Look. She's all washed out on camera 2, and so is the background. See how the black curtain is all gray? It's all too light. Everything's too light. But what do we do? Let's go fix camera 2. Camera 2. Now, why does this person, this engineer over here, the shader, why do they have their own switcher? Because you want to be able to do this independently of what's going on in the air. If a director says, take camera 1, obviously, you don't want to be shading camera 1 on the air. That's why you got an earphone too. So the shader needs to pay attention to what's on the air and not shade the camera that's on the air. So I can't touch 1 right now. I can touch 2 and 3. I wouldn't want to shade 1 because it'll show up on the air. That's what the director just said. So now the director says, ready to take 2. Well, I got a split second to fix 2. But maybe I should just go to camera 3. Because I know 2's next. Let me fix 3. So you got to have a half a brain to do this. You got to be listening to the program and see what the director is calling for. But that aside, let's do them in order. Let's go to camera 2. And we've got a problem with camera 2. It's way too bright. So you tell me, what do you want me to do?
Make them black.
Iris.
Iris to what?
80.
Up or down?
Down.
Okay. Turn it down. Look where it is right now in the scope. It's over 120%. Way, way over. Obviously, that's no good. Look at it. So, trust the scope. Let's take it down to the brightest part being about 80%. Now look. Same. Notice the blacks came down with it. That's a function of the iris too. So as you're bringing the iris down, the blacks will come down with it. Now let's say I want to tweak that background. Look here. You can actually even see the folds in the curtain. Look at that line. See how it's not straight, it's all squiggly? That's the folds in the curtain. After you get used to doing this for a while, you can actually read that scope and figure out what the picture is. But for right now, watch the black. I'm going to turn the blacks way up. Boom. Everything goes to gray. Turn the blacks all the way down. Everything goes to black. Now notice you can't see any detail in the picture anymore. Everything has gone to black. So we want to bring up the blacks to 7.5. Now cameras 1 and 2 are perfectly matched. By the way, what I'm doing for you right now is going to be your final exam in this class. You will have 30 seconds to calibrate this board to 100% PU and send a signal out. And you will have the next 30 seconds to calibrate the 3 cameras. That's your final exam. Part of it. All right, now time for camera 3. Well, camera 3, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks pretty bright, yeah? And the blacks, I don't know whether they really should look like that. So let's go to camera 3. Whoa. Look at the scope. All right, something is really, really, really bright. And I think it's her hair, just based on that shape. And then now look at the curtain. It's no good. So let's turn this down a little bit. Now, by the way, sometimes you got to cheat. What we want is 80% on the face, which is the bulk of the important part of the picture. But notice we got some stuff that's up way high. If I brought down the highest high to 80%, now the picture's underexposed. So you got to use your brain a little bit, and what my brain is telling me is those super whites are the chair. So I'm going to ignore the chair because it's not important. Bring up what I think is her face to 80%. Just right about there. I'm going to mess with the blacks right here with a master pedestal. That's what it looks like all off. Well, now it's too dark. Because when you look out there with your eyes, you can see the curtain is black, but it's not gone. So we got to see it a little bit. Bring up the blacks. Slowly. And there they are. Look, too much black. Look. Everything goes to gray. Too little black. Everything goes to black. So we want 7.5% of the signal. Right there. Now, all 3 cameras are matched perfectly. You can switch between all 3 and it won't jar the audience. And it looks like one camera. 1, 2, 3. If we had the 4th camera hooked up, we'd be doing that too. So we're all set. Now, do you guys have any questions? This is the lesson for today, right here. Do you have any questions?
Where's the iris knob again?
The one that's marked iris. Fortunately for you, for students, everything is labeled. Iris and pedestal is marked MPED for master pedestal, right here.
Can you do the pedestal again?
Sure. We do it on camera 3 on preview. Pedestal is a smaller knob here, it's black. Iris is here, they're side by side. Also, it'll give you the value here. This 6.2 is the f-stop for the iris. This f-stop is 8.4, that one's an 8.0. If you see a big discrepancy between them, something's probably wrong. If you have one iris that's 1.8 and the other iris is at 18, something with your lighting is wrong. Okay, so you wanted me to do pedestal. That's this one, master pedestal. So, all the way down, camera 3, look at the one on the left, preview. We got no background at all. Everything's gone to black. Too much, and it's all gone to gray. So what we have is master pedestal is now at 100%. We want that line to be at 7.5% of the signal. See, a lot of people would think, I mean, logically, if you didn't have an engineering class, you would think, oh, the black would be 0, right? 0%. If the highest white is 100%, then the darkest black would probably be 0. No. 0 would mean no picture at all, or no percent. So 7.5% on the black, 80% on the faces, and on something that's really actually white, 100%. So let's go look at something 100% white.